as you guys all know, Victor has no palate, and I'm just playing.
No, I really don't. I don't, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna make it a point to like walk Victor through kind of like similar training methods to what I did when I was at Metropolis.
Awesome.
Which was honestly what I would do is just give someone something and say, hey, taste this, and then let's just talk about it. And I would just go up to my trainees completely unexpected. They would be coming back from like, lunch break or whatever. And I'm like, hey, how was your lunch break? They were like, good. I'm like, all right, great. Taste this. You just ate something, so that's perfect. Your palate should be kind of switched on, and I'm going to give you something to taste real quick. So, welcome to episode 10 of the Sultan of Slow Drip. I am your host, the Sultan of Slow Drip. Joining me, as always, is Victor Chan.
Hey guys, what's up again? Episode 10, we made it.
Yeah, double digits, man. It feels good.
It felt like a sprint at first, and then it kind of drew itself out.
Yeah,
in a way,
yeah.
even though it's like every other week, but
I
like
know,
it's a journey.
It's every other week, but also I'm just like, wow, like we have an episode today. We have an episode today.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's a good cadence.
Agreed.
Hopefully I get to the point where I can do a little bit more episodes. I feel like doing a weekly is going to be a big game changer versus every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I can have less lag time between the stuff that I talk about and then the stuff that kind of manifests.
Absolutely. Things are just moving faster than
Yeah.
you can create.
Yeah, like we have a
Or
pizza,
document, I guess.
Yeah, we have a pizza episode that
Yeah.
we're going to be doing.
Early next month.
Yeah. So that's going to be really cool. We're going to be pairing that with different sakes from as a kind of reference to the episode that you did that I kind of guest featured on with Dila.
Yeah, we're going to have Ryan and Enrique, who both teamed up with Francis and created Alico Pizza at Side Practice a while ago. So we're going to just jam them and pair and
yeah.
Yeah,
we were tasting the sake, and I was just like, wow, this sake would taste really good with pizza. And then I don't know if because there was a pizza oven behind us or what, but like this.
It's a pairing that I've never heard of. If anyone has heard it, let us know. But I've never heard of that. But I am intrigued.
Yeah, so hopefully we can put together some really awesome pizzas and just kind of walk you guys through that and just do another palate building and also just kind of have a little fun, do something of like a party episode that we kind of talked about. So
this is like an intro to that, a teaser of like what it could be.
Exactly. So as you guys all know, Victor has no palate, and I'm just playing.
No, I really don't. I don't, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna make it a point to like walk Victor through kind of like similar training methods to what I did when I was at Metropolis.
Awesome.
Which was honestly what I would do is just give someone something and say, hey, taste this, and then let's just talk about it. And I would just go up to my trainees completely unexpected. They would be coming back from like a lunch break or whatever, and I'm like, hey, how was your lunch break? They were like, good. I'm like, all right, great, taste this. You just ate something, so that's perfect. Your palate should be kind of switched on, and I'm going to give you something to taste real quick. So this is a coffee that I just got a sample of. I'm always looking for something new to make a limited edition of, and this is from Black and White Coffee Roasters again.
I've been hearing their names.
They are really phenomenal. I got some coffee from them before that worked out really nicely for the limited edition.
Okay.
So I wanted to see what else they have because they do more kind of exotic processing on the beans, and that's kind of hard to find these days. So having a company that consistently puts out those kinds of processes is really just great to have access to. So
Cool.
I'll show you what the coffee is afterwards, but we're just going to taste it and kind of walk through it.
Sure.
And I'm actually going to kind of let you lead it. And if I feel like you're being quiet, I'm going to just poke and prod a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. So smell first?
Yep, smell first. Yep. And do you remember from the cupping episode that we did where I was like, when you smell, you want to have a little bit of, mouth open. And you want to actually draw in through your mouth and nose at the same time so that you can create that turbulence. If you're just breathing in through your nose, that airflow is just kind of going in one direction. But by having it go through the nose and mouth at the same time, those airstreams impact each other, and then you just create turbulence, which gives your olfactory nerve more just ability to perceive the coffee, or whatever it is you might be.
It's kind of like tapering off now, but that first one
was
even without
explosive.
the mouth was pretty explosive with berries.
I'll pour you just a touch more because like getting just a little bit more in there too.
And then is it good to like shake it or stir it?
You can. I mean, you don't have to though,
because it's wine.
Yeah,
not really. Oh.
I mean, if we were in a wine glass, that would make more sense because all you're trying to do in a wine glass is that kind of bell shape of it is you're putting those volatiles in the air and then just kind of holding them in the bell.
Okay.
in that empty space. This is not, the same shape, so you won't get as much benefit from doing the swirl in a vessel like this. But if it was in a wine glass, you could probably benefit from the swirl.
One of my sniffs came back with cinnamon, but most of it's berry.
Okay, like any kind of berry specifically?
Not off. I don't know. Not off the smell.
So just like general berry. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and give it a taste then.
Okay.
And you also said cinnamon.
Yeah.
Like ground cinnamon or like cinnamon like whole
God,
like
you're
bark?
so specific. I don't think I've ever had bark.
Oh, okay, like not like the whole cinnamon stick?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure that's very different.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. It's a little milder than ground cinnamon.
So ground cinnamon.
Ground cinnamon? Okay. And like genuine cinnamon? Not like fake like bubblegum cinnamon?
Yeah. Not
Like
like
actual-
spicy. Yeah.
Like very subtle?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
subtle.
I think cinnamon's very on point. I think that's pretty I can get that. Yeah. And as for berry, I say blueberry flesh. Like,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, like very mild blueberry.
On the smell and the taste.
On the taste.
On the taste.
On the smell, I actually get something a little more tropical. I get something more like a baked pineapple on the nose.
That's amazing.
Like, yeah, like just a pineapple that was just, put in the oven and just kind of has like that little syrupiness kind of thing going on.
Okay.
It's not like the acidity has been muted a little bit, from the baking of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you ever have a pineapple upside down cake?
No.
Oh my goodness. You need to have
Is this like another? Is this a bundt cake?
I'm gonna walk you. It's like it can be, but yeah, like a pineapple upside down cake is basically a cake that's just made with pineapple slices. It's like almost like a pound cake with pineapple slices at the bottom, and they caramelize, and then
okay.
you flip it,
Okay.
and then you got caramelized like pineapple slices on top of the cake, like coating it like
Sure.
with like a syrup
Yeah.
from the juice that
Yeah.
caramelizes as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful cake.
So, when you were talking about palate training, you said it's simply recall.
Yeah.
And maybe I just haven't tasted enough things, right?
It's
like,
possible.
I can't even like you're listing things off that I've never had before. And moving forward, the more I taste, I'll like sit with it and
Yeah.
like, be more intentional with it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's just all it is like really thinking about what you have and just taking that time to be really like recalling whatever that reminds you of. And you just build like this recall of recall. It becomes a kind of self-reinforcing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you taste one thing, it reminds you of something else. And then you make that association and now you can find like a third element. Like, so for example, there's a YouTube video of Grant Achatz, the chef of Alinea, talking about how basically when they come up with a menu or a dish, they will say, okay, this one dish, let's take two elements that are pretty separate and then try to tie them together through mutual elements that they both pair well with. And then he has a joke saying, but you can't use bacon because everything gets like, bacon's like duct tape, like everything can kind of be fixed with bacon a little bit.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like how can you take two things that really on paper shouldn't be together and then put them together using other ingredients? And that's the system of sensory recall where it's like, this is kind of like this, which goes well with that.
Okay.
And then before you know it, you're pairing two things that don't really on paper
Gotcha.
seem like they should go together.
Gotcha. Like always, I it's more feel right now, right? So like it's a nice feel like on the tongue.
Yeah.
And it was light but acidic as well.
Yeah, it's very like velvety.
Yeah.
I would say like kind of juicy and slick. And I'm getting a citrus kind of thing going from it as well. Like maybe like a Valencia orange, like a much more of a juice orange.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think I've ever. I've never had.
Oh,
a
like
Valencia
just
orange.
an orange that's like made for juicing. So it's
Oh.
as opposed to like a navel, which is more like an eating orange.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the oranges that have like thinner skin,
Rounder.
and- yeah, they're rounder.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I've
so
had
if you've,
them, never mind.
yeah,
Okay.
if you've ever gone to like the place where they have the machine that you can make your own orange juice, squeeze your own juice, those are the Valencia oranges.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's got like that more Valencia.
See, I said acidic, and then you said citrusy, and then you took it one step further with orange.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
amazing.
and this is like
Layers upon layers.
this is decades, like literally
Yeah.
2 decades of me eating and drinking like this. Like ever since I was a teenager, I would always eat and drink in a very
Methodical.
methodical way
Yeah.
and just like kind of taste through the food much more. and like I'm always swishing, the food, which doesn't make my dentist too happy, like especially with the coffee.
You got good teeth, dude. You're good.
Yeah, they're okay. But let me show you what the coffee actually says on the case. So, show this to the camera.
Yeah.
There we go. So you get to read that from Black and White Coffee Roasters.
Nice.
Yep.
Candied citrus. So floral.
Yep.
Candied citrus, peach, and honey.
Those are the tasting notes from it.
Okay. Do they ever list like notes for the nose, or this is just tasting notes?
They can, but they don't. I've never seen anyone distinguish that as just an aroma.
And does it aromas? Yeah, that's the word. How does it differ between like smelling it from the bag and then by the time it's brewed? How different?
Well, every coffee is a little different. So go ahead and smell this from the bag and tell me. What do you think?
More berry.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get the spice as well.
Oh, you get
it's not cinnamon though.
Feels weird, like putting my mouth in that, but
That's
yeah,
fine.
no, I like it.
It's more like peppercorn or something, like white peppercorn.
Okay.
Rather than cinnamon.
Is that more? Okay. Is that more subtle than black peppercorn?
It is, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
okay.
it's just like the outer skin of that peppercorn is removed.
Okay.
That's like where really like the pungent oils and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like peppercorns. There's a whole different level of peppercorn, and like, yeah. But the outer part of that peppercorn is like where a lot of the oil is, and just like the thing that makes pepper spicy, especially, is on the outside, and also bitter. And the stuff that like kind of gives pepper its sweetness is more in the center, the white part of it. So
yeah.
So
I gotta eat things that I normally don't eat, like just straight up, just individual things.
Yeah,
right?
just like peppercorns, and like say, like so. For example, a great resource in the city is to go to the Spice House or to go Rare Tea Cellar, and if you can talk to them for a little bit and just kind of pick their brain, there's just so many variations upon variations of cinnamon and peppercorns and all kinds of stuff. They'll have. Like, oh, do you want this cardamom or do you want that cardamom? And they're like, you know what I'm saying? It's levels. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a great place to go and just get like a rundown of what makes these things different within themselves too. So not just, oh, here's some cardamom, right?
Right.
So that's
cool.
that's one of those places that I occasionally like to just go to and just, get, because then they are like extra high level when it comes to those specific things as well.
Sure.
So anything else you're getting out of this before we move on?
When it says floral, like what do they mean?
So floral is like super generic as a term.
Is it light or like?
It's light. I think floral is probably the closest thing to an aromatic descriptor, to be quite honest, because you never taste flowers.
Okay.
I mean, edible flowers don't have flavor. They barely have aroma. They just have an appearance.
Okay.
So when you typically think about anything floral, like potpourri, or just a bouquet of flowers, that really is an aromatic thing to me. So I would say, to the extent that aromas are depicted on these descriptors, floral is probably closer to an aroma than a taste. Sometimes jasmine can be interpreted as floral because jasmine tastes the way lilacs smell.
Wow.
So that sometimes like can be either smell or taste. Specifically, they might say floral, but really it's jasmine. Or they might say jasmine and it's floral.
Wow.
But like that one coffee, if you remember when we did the thirds, that tasted like jasmine. That was like pure jasmine.
Yeah, the last third. Yeah. Okay.
So it's nuanced. Everybody's got a different palate, so they might put something on there that you just perceive a little bit differently. So. Yeah, I think this is wonderful. The honey, I mean, I'm just thinking through these flavor notes. I mean, I could see where you get peach. It doesn't necessarily stand out to me as like a predominating thing. I went much more citrus. So you remember how we were talking about stone fruit?
Yeah.
Last episode we
Apricot,
did? Yeah, we're talking about like the difference
cherries.
between where stone fruit kind of sits in the middle of malic, which is apples, and then citric, like citrus. So they're saying this tastes like candied citrus and peach, which is a stone fruit. So they're saying citrus and stone fruit.
Interesting.
Which is, that's fine because, those flavors can exist in the same coffee. That's, there's nothing weird about that. Just comparing it to the kind of notes that I had, I was going much more like tropical, like pineapple, and specifically like baked pineapple. And it's interesting to see that they say candied citrus, because basically they're saying, okay,
So similar.
yeah, it's very similar, where it's like to candy citrus, you have to cook it.
Yeah.
You would just cook it in like a simple syrup, boil it, right? So that same sort of like sweetness, that fruit caramel, that caramelization of a fruit.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going for with this.
Can you imagine how sales, in my opinion, if I saw baked pineapple, I'd be like, I'd be intrigued.
Right, yeah. I think, especially baked pineapple sounds a little more appealing.
Yeah.
Candy citrus sounds fine.
Yeah, I see it, but I see it, it's common.
It's a very common descriptor.
Yeah.
And I think there is something where, like, pineapples do have citric acid as well, so they do have a citrus kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
with
but you
them.
just like peeled that layer of citrus and said pineapple.
Pineapple, yeah, because it's like, it's much more tropical. It's much more, there's this kind of funkiness that almost a pineapple has in a way. When you smell it, it smells a little like
Pungent.
It's a little pungent, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the coffee has that as well, which I think is like,
and that like is to me encompassed by acidity. Like it's acidic, and like I just can't go that deeper yet.
yeah. Actually, this is pretty interesting too, because think about honey. The way honey smells. Like honey smells a little funky too, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, like pineapple smells a little funky. Honey smells a little funky. They took basically the honey and the candy citrus and separated those out as different components. And in my head, I think this is me just kind of like putting it together as I taste it. I think for me, the honey and the citrus combine to become pineapple, because the pineapple has a funkiness that the citrus does not have. They both share a lot of flavors in common, especially like the acidity. The difference is pineapple has a little bit of funkiness, and then just like this other kind of like element that makes it tropical. Whereas like the honey, when you add honey to citrus, and all of a sudden you have something that's much more approaching what pineapple's like, because honey has a funkiness to it, especially depending on what kind of honey it is.
Yeah.
So that's just me kind of putting it together, piecing it together, where even things that sound different might actually be the same descriptors, just talked about in a different manner.
Sure.
Because, how often...
I'm curious to see if what you said aligns with Black and White roasters.
Oh, like...
if they were to watch this. And
yeah, I mean, they might, and they might be like, hey, yeah, he's got a point there, or
cool.
Nah, who knows? I mean, because they're pretty well versed, obviously, in what they do. So that's not to say that like these descriptors are wrong. They're not.
No.
Yeah, it's more so like.
But there's more than one way to say something, right?
There's more than one way. Yeah, and it's like you could put together different elements, which is like basically what a pairing is, and then you get this third kind of expression of those two elements that should be different from the two in isolation. And I think the same thing can happen with something like coffee, which is a very complex drink, where two things that normally you would be tasting separately combine to something that references a third flavor completely different, on paper at least. Like pineapple is not a citrus, it's not honey. But when you put honey and citrus together, it becomes kind of similar to pineapple.
Cool. Yeah.
So, so that's my school
TED
of,
Talk.
Yeah, exactly. That's my school of palate training part of the episode. I have something really fun for us now.
Okay.
So check this out.
Okay.
I know you said you had this already, but you haven't had it with me.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
Guys.
Boom.
Guys, have you had this yet? Have you had these? Have you had this?
This right here.
I don't know, it's focusing. Man,
This is the thing.
this is gonna be the second time. I felt so lucky to get my hands on it. I got pizza from Pizza Fried Chicken Ice Cream, and they had these in stock. And both Justine and myself, not I was gonna say pleasantly surprised. We had no expectations. I don't know. And we going into it, I knew, is it like coconut based?
It is. Yeah. It's vegan. So the only
Yeah,
ingredients are
contains
coconut milk,
coconut.
sugar, coffee, salt, and then guar gum just to
And-
give it a little texture.
Man, but like coconut ice cream in general, it's just like silky. Just
Yeah, yeah. It was always my favorite palette as a kid.
okay.
Yeah, I would always get the coconut. Like I love the shredded bits in there as well. Yeah, or the watermelon. Those were like the two go-tos: coconut or watermelon.
But it was a very good combination of coconut and Kyoto Black coffee. And you said the how do you say it, guar gum?
Yeah, guar gum.
I don't know. It just like it didn't like fall off the stick either. Like it
Yeah,
held together.
Yeah.
And it like for those that I don't know if I'm gonna get slack for this, but if anyone like likes biting into their ice cream, like you can bite into this.
Yeah.
It's not gonna hurt.
Well,
so,
let's do that.
Yeah.
I don't bite my ice cream. I have sensitive teeth, but
I guess like it wasn't like cold enough to like
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it was like too
I know what you
sensitive.
mean. Look at that. That's a pop right there.
So how'd you get your hands on another batch? You got another batch?
Oh, so yeah. I don't know if you know this, but these are going to be a mainstay during the warm season here at my shop.
Amazing.
So this is the first thing I'm selling that's not like specifically coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, you can smell the coconut like so much
Yeah.
with these. So if you haven't had one of these and you're in Chicago,
Man.
you need to stop by.
Come through.
My
so,
shop.
yeah, this place.
Yeah,
and
pretty cool ice cream.
Okay.
And then pizza, fried chicken, ice cream.
Yeah.
Those are the.
Where you at, Foxtrot?
Yeah, right.
Just kidding.
They do carry pretty cool
I know,
at
I know.
Foxtrot, so.
Oh, they do? Oh, so soon enough.
Yeah, I mean they carry my coffee at Foxtrot. They carry.
That's why I
pretty
said
cool.
that,
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's bomb.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to walk through a little bit, just kind of tasting this. I know it's a popsicle, which is like it's kind of ridiculous to be tasting a popsicle, on camera. But I wanted to actually, first of all, just spread the word on these things. They're already selling like crazy.
Yeah.
I've gotten so many DMs just like for how many people want to get their hands on these, and I set these two aside for us because otherwise I would have sold out.
I'm sure.
Because
I'm
people
sure.
were just like banging my door down.
He
pretty
sold
much.
out the first time. I couldn't get my hands on it the first time, and I see this guy every week or every other week. So yeah.
So these things are pretty awesome, but I just kind of want to walk through a little bit of another tasting of this particular popsicle, and just kind of use our mind's eye now.
Okay.
So this is a little different. This time we're gonna be this still palate training. This
Right.
time we're gonna be tasting something that's not here. We're gonna be using our mind's eye to taste.
Okay.
This is another thing that I would do with my trainees.
Okay. Okay.
So go ahead, taste your popsicle, Okay. Now we know what this is made of. It's primarily coffee, sugar, and coconut milk. So let's start imagining what this might taste like if instead of using coconut milk, it used regular milk. What do you think the difference would be?
See, the coconut stands out a little more than the coffee. So I don't know if more coffee would shine through if there wasn't coconut milk. But I feel like coconut milk is more. No, I was gonna say more subtle than regular. Are you thinking regular milk? What
Yeah,
do you-
just like like when you make a popsicle, you use like a blend of cream and regular milk.
I would assume the coffee would stand out a little more.
Okay. So does this primarily taste like it's coconut to you, like first, and then coffee afterwards? With that said, would you like to taste more coffee, or do you think it's like good where it is?
I like it where it is.
Me too. So in the absence of the coconut flavor, do you think it might just be like
Just coffee.
just coffee, but like weaker,
Weaker coffee?
like weaker flavor overall?
Oh. I don't know about weaker.
Okay.
Different.
Okay.
But this complements.
Yeah,
It makes
it
you
does.
wonder, like if anyone has had like Kyoto Black with, I mean, obviously with coconut milk, right? And like, that's probably really
It's
good.
really good. Yeah, I've had it. Yeah. Another thing. So what do you think would be different in the texture? If it was with just cream,
Not as silky.
not as silky. Also, another thing too, when you're saying how you could bite into this, right?
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though they're frozen really, really solid, like you can see how cold it is.
Yeah.
Coconut milk, for some reason, I think because of its like fat content, it doesn't come off as like super cold on the tongue.
That's what I was saying. So I have sensitive teeth too, but I can just like bite through this.
Right. Like it warms up very quickly.
Okay.
You know, so like, cause you can taste this, like you taste it, right? But your mouth isn't cold. Exactly.
You don't get brain freeze.
You don't get brain freeze from it. It goes down like a cappuccino almost. Like this is like a cappuccino pop almost. Something.
Yeah.
Whereas with your standard kind of milk or cream base, that coldness I think would just come through the tongue a little bit more. And when that happens, coldness, like the perception of coldness, actually deadens your taste buds.
Oh.
So, like for example, when you make hot coffee, and let's say you're the kind of person who adds sugar to coffee, you actually have to add more sugar to cold brew to make it taste as sweet as hot coffee.
That makes sense. I've noticed that.
The warmer something is, the easier it is to perceive the sweetness.
Is it because it melts, or where it's like it takes longer to melt?
No, it's almost like the coldness will deaden the tongue.
Really?
Like the tongue
That's what
itself
it is.
just
Okay.
like has a harder time perceiving the flavor. So if something's colder, generally it needs to have more sugar added to it to taste
Okay.
as sweet. So with this coconut milk, one thing that I noticed is it just doesn't taste as cold. I think it warms up very quickly in the mouth. Just the layer that you're consuming.
Right.
Because my mouth is not left
Like
feeling cold.
it still looks
Yeah, it's frozen pretty
frozen.
solid. But that coldness doesn't translate to the tongue very quickly.
No. So it allows you to taste.
So I think if this were made with like regular milk or like the regular cream kind of milk base, the flavor actually might be muted. Just
Interesting.
yeah, just by the nature of how much
The other
slower
ingredient.
they melt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, coconut milk will melt pretty quickly.
Allowing you to taste it faster. Wow. It's functional, and there's form to it. I haven't had any of their other ice creams.
Oh, I've had like they're so generous. Every time I go there to pick up my regular shipment, they're always like, "Oh, here's some other ice cream. Here's some other ice cream." They're just super sweet to me. So, I've had quite a few. Their matcha red bean paste, like so they do a red bean paste ice cream, which is like this pop here, and then they put a matcha shell on top of it, and that's just so excellent. And it's got crispy rice too. It's so good.
I saw pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave one to my wife, and she was just like, "It tastes like Japan." Like,
Okay.
so yeah, I got that. They do another coffee pop too that's dipped
Okay.
with cookies and cream.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, that one's really good. They do kitty pops as well, like apple cider pops, like for kids. So there's no added sugar. It's just an apple cider popsicle. Those are good. My daughter loves that one. So that's another technique that I like to use too, which is and it engages the sensory recall, which is to taste what's not there and just say, okay, how would this taste if it was with this instead of that?
Gotcha. Okay.
That's another level. So like when I'm tasting so many things, I'm like, okay, how would this taste if it was made this way instead?
And do you actually like experiment with it after?
I have, yeah.
You have.
I
Okay.
have. Especially if it's something I'm making.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, that's what a chef will do. A chef will be like, make something, and then they'll be like, oh, how would it taste if I just did this instead of that? And then they go and make it and taste it.
Gotcha.
You can run those experiments in your mind once you've built your palate up with like familiar things. So you've tasted milk and cream and coconut milk and all these things time and time again.
Right.
You can say, okay, how would this taste with like almond milk? How would this taste with all these different types of milks? And you can play it out in your head. Like I could tell you, this probably wouldn't taste good with almond milk, but it probably would taste good with soy milk.
Interesting.
Almond milk is like really dry and not as like kind of fatty. It's very like austere. And especially when you combine it with coffee, it can sometimes be a little acrid. Like it can really bring out like the bitterness of the coffee.
Okay.
Whereas like soy milk, obviously it depends on the soy milk because some soy milks taste like tofu, but like ones that are less savory, less kind of vegetal, really kind of softens up the coffee a bit more. So
Okay. Wow.
really, really good popsicle.
So many epic collabs. Hey, who's been to Metropolitan? I'm still waiting to go.
Yeah, we gotta get our raid together, right? So the Metro guys, when I visited them recently, they were like, "Hey, so when's the raid happening?" So I want to actually put that out there as a message, and just like we'll show up at Metropolitan, and whoever wants to join us.
Yeah, make a poll or something.
Yeah,
we'll go,
and we can just like figure out a good time to just meet up there, and anyone who wants to come and just say hi and hang out and have some beer.
Okay.
I don't know. Things are a little bit more kind of free here now. We moved to the
bridge phase.
So yeah, might be a little easier to meet people now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Awesome.
Set a date, time, we'll go.
Cool. All right. So yeah, that's that pretty much wraps up the episode. Question of the day.
Oh.
Are you gonna come get this pop?
You better.
Drop a yes in the chat if you are thinking to come grab one of these from us, and let us know where you're gonna grab it from. Are you gonna come to Kyoto Black? You're gonna go to Pretty Cool, or you're gonna go to Pizza Chicken Ice Cream?
Grab 10.
Yeah, right. I always try to get that in the right order. I'm like, is it pizza?
Are you gonna put a limit?
No.
No limit.
No. I mean,
that's when you know it's hot. It's like limit 2 per person.
no
It's
limit.
like,
So just
you're gonna get a line out the block.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Control me.